Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, host on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at these Zuri's inventories, random rolls, my recommendations for September 3rd, 2021. You can find these Zuri in his regular spot on Nessus. Just head over to the Watcher's Grave, and I'm right here on top of this big old tree. This is a big old little tree, you know what I'm saying? This is a high overview of everything he has available, and let me just say there are a few things here that are very, very interesting. A few exotics that are really nice, and specifically, we have certain things that I did not know were going to be part of his pool. Things that are part of things like Gambit, or Crucible, or Vanguard that are specific to those modes. You may not have to do those if he brings around one you want. First up today, we have the exotic weapon, the Hardlight Auto Rifle. If you've never heard of it, rounds fired from this weapon have reduced damage fall off, so instead of going down to 60% at its maximum low damage, it goes down to like 80%. Used to be infinite range, which was ridiculous. And on top of that, you over-penetrate targets, ricochet off hard surfaces, and anytime you ricochet, you do increased damage. It's no longer like 2-3 times damage, it's only a slight bit more damage, but it is still a little bit more, I guess. Now, the important thing here is that this is an auto rifle with a really large magazine, good RPM archetype, really good stats across the board, and then the catalyst maxes out the stability. This is just an excellent auto rifle if you like auto rifles. Unfortunately, auto rifles are not really that part of the meta. And finally, the other perk allows you to switch between Solar, Arc, and Void, which is cool for match game, but usually if you have a team of 3, you can handle all 3 pretty easily. After that, we have the Hunter exotic known as GRAVITON FORFEIT, one of my favorite looking exotics in the game. It actually does have an ornament, but I don't really like this ornament because the regular one is just really nice. They did actually give this exotic a buff this season, added a few bits more to it. If you've never heard of it, increases the duration of any invisibility effects. That includes your smoke grenade, your dodge, Rat King, any invisibility effects, and it makes it like twice as long. And while you're invisible, your melee recharges faster, your weapons reload faster, and your recovery is greatly increased. These last two things are going to be that addition to this season. Now, usually in the past, I have found that I preferred the 6 Coyote and Omnioculus just because there's better team synergies, and you end up getting your melee faster with the dodge stuff, so I just didn't find a need for this because I usually break out of invisibility faster because I want to go, and this exotic says, hey, wait, relax. However, increasing your recovery and your reload stuff might be really nice for PvP, giving you a nice little safe haven to really boost up your recovery. And a thought that I just had, if this increases your recovery by a significant amount, I imagine it goes up to the cap, meaning you don't have to spend nearly as much points on your recovery, and you can put those in other stats, giving you the ability to get 3 100 stats with this exotic. Now, this is just a guess. I don't know how much it gives it to you, but I imagine it just gives you basic recovery. Which means, if you come over the total stats, you don't need to have high recovery on this exotic, which is really, really cool. However, with this exotic, you would like to see high mobility and high strength, and it doesn't really have that, but 66 is pretty high. So this is an interesting exotic, and I would like to experiment with how far you can push this recovery bonus. After that, for the Titan exotic, we have the Peregrine GREAVES. All of your shoulder charge abilities get bonus damage when activated in the air, which is something that can kill almost, or I think literally every single super in the game in PvP. The problem is it's quite literally not useful until enemy supers are out in the field, because the shoulder charge is normally one-shot enemies. In PvE, melee is dangerous, although does a pretty high amount of melee damage, probably not as much as that throwing hammer thing that people have been using lately. As far as your roll goes, you like to see mobility and strength and probably recovery, and it does have all of those. Even though the total is around the average, it's a pretty good set of stats for this particular exotic. Although, I'm not a big fan of this particular exotic. And finally, for the Warlock exotic, probably the best item on sale today. I believe I put this as like number 2 or 3 on my Warlock exotics. The Contraverse Hole, an excellent exotic with a very, very good perk. If you've never heard of it, you resist incoming damage while charging any of your different Void Grenades, and charge Void Grenades return a random amount of grenade energy on hit. So it does not include Devour because you cannot throw a grenade with Devour's charge. With that being said, I really like it with Chaos, the one with the big exploding Nova Bomb super. That's going to be the one where it gives you a bigger, better grenade, which allows you to hit more enemies, do more damage, have a higher chance of getting a hit, and also getting, 30 to 80% of your grenade back with a much better grenade is really nice, and I still use it in Grandmaster Nightfall. Now, obviously, we did not get Oppressive Darkness this season, or last season, or the season before that, or the season before that, or the season before that, but maybe next season, and this will come back into, like, the highest spot in the meta. As far as your roll goes, you like to see a lot of discipline, which it does have. I guess you want to see more recovery because it's a Warlock exotic, but overall, pretty good stats, good stat total. I would recommend it. And Bungie, I would recommend an ornament. Up next, let's talk about the legendary weapons. Again, this is actually very exciting. First up, we have the Dire Promise, a decent roll on it. If you did not know, this is going to be the higher magazine, lower range variety of 140s, what I call them the old 150 140s. In this one, there are going to be damage perks and some range stuff that you'd rather prefer, but an okay stability-based and handling roll. Next up, we have the Gnawing Hunger. Few nice little things here, but it does have a damage perk, and there are, again, a lot better range rolls I would prefer on the Gnawing Hunger. The Cold Denial, a decent roll with this. I'd rather have a damage perk, multi-kill clip, so I can get those 2 bursts in PvP, and again, a bit more range would be better on this particular item. Distant Tumulus, I don't really like 140s, and there is firing line on it, which is usually better. The Wishbringer, definitely a lot of range in this first 3 here, but not in these 2. But not bad, actually. Rampage is pretty nice on 140s in PvP. 7 Sarah Saw, again, there are going to be damage perks, utility perks, auto-loading stuff I would rather have on this and less reloading stuff. I would rather have more range, personally. And then finally, again, Trinary system. The fact that this Gambit weapon is here means I don't have to play Gambit. Hopefully the bottom dollar comes up as one of the weapons, or maybe even Igneous Hammer, Empty Vessel. And this particular roll, I think there are definitely better ones, but it's not bad. Outside of this, I can only see the Titan versions of these armors. Obviously, each one of them is going to be different. I do see a 62, if that's what you're interested in. And obviously a 60, which is not a bad set of stuff, although bad recovery. And of course, make sure you pick up that Xur's Exotic Cipher quest. Every single week you can get Exotic Cipher quests for doing Strikes and Gambit and Crucible, and you get basically a free Exotic Cipher, which you can then use on Exotic Engrams or the Exotic Archive. I recommend the Ariana's Vow. And also, again, I would recommend the Exotic Engram. Getting an Exotic you've never received, and it's a high stat roll. That's an Exotic I've received before. 67, god damn. And that's going to be pretty much it. Of course, make sure you come check out my live streams at twitch.tv/Dychronic, link in the description down below. All the times on screen right now, oftentimes doing Destiny 2, open lobbies, Vaults of Glass, new seasonal stuff, whatnot. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Many Budu, Mom, Dad, Luco, Dr. Strange, Joe Smith, Monday, Steve Bachman, Raymond Shonen, Your Panther, Casey Reagan, for their support on Patreon. I love how fast I can do it. And that's it. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.